We're at the Anclote Key Preserve State Park, Anclote Key Lighthouse. The sun, we just happen to be standing here, and the sun has hit this, either the lens or the window, in such a way that it's reflecting significant light, as you can see. It's just really neat. Mosquitoes are very heavy and thick, even in the middle of the day out here. I hate to be out here in the nighttime, I tell you. That is amazing, exciting. I'm going to see if I can back up a little bit. No, it's not good. It was only going to catch it from that particular location. So let's go back in and see if we can recapture that refraction, whatever. That is cool. That is cool. I don't think that's the lens. I think that's just the window, but it's still very neat, very cool stuff. So I guess at times they open this up, but from my understanding, it's very rare. So this is not. It's not just open at will. And according to a sign over here, you're not allowed to go around the back end of it. That's where the ranger stays. This ranger's residence, they call it. So without breaking a whole lot of trespassing laws and respecting the privacy of the ranger, the resident, well, I'm not even sure is there right now. We're going to just allow this to suffice in satisfaction of the purpose for coming out here, which was to see the lighthouse. I can hold that steady enough to. And the adventure, of course, it's always about the adventure. Speaking of which, we are on Anclote Key. This is first documented in European maps in the mid-16th century. This was a Timucuan place in the village. People lived here. People's bones are buried in this ground. Timucuan Indians would have made very good use of this island. This would have been an excellent island for defense. For all we know, this might have even been a chief village, a head village, a village where the main people were, because this is an island. But there were a lot of islands at that time. There were no bridges crossing any of these islands. So it would have been a chore to get back and forth to and from. That's a mosquito. I don't know whose blood that is. Gosh. Spanish and the pirates who preyed on the Spanish used this area for a port. There's speculation of a lot of treasure having been buried around here, not necessarily on this island, but including this island, but the whole Anclote area, Anclote River. This essentially guards the mouth of the Anclote River from direct tides, direct waves. So we have invasive exotic plants which we don't want. This is the northernmost island in a chain of barrier islands that begins in Key West and runs all the way up the west coast of Florida, protecting. There's not sweet. If I can get up there, yes. I can just hold steady a few seconds. Beautiful, dude. That protect the main coast, the mangrove coast. What we know as beaches that we like and enjoy and see are from the waves, erosion. Essentially, the waves hitting the shore. What we now know as the sponge docks in Tarpon Springs, world famous sponge docks, actually began north of there on the other side of the Anclote River in what was known as Anclote, settled in the 1860s, the mid to late 19th century. And all the way up to what we now know as Holiday, Bailey's Bluff. All right, we're heading out back to the boat, to the shore, head back over to mainland. Quite choppy on the way in. I'm hoping for some slack tide action to be able to. Man, I just cannot hold that any steadier than that. But that's an osprey, a great big fat osprey nest. Maybe YouTube will do their stabilization thing for me again. Yep. Yeah, I bet there's all kind of stuff out here. Ruins, burial mounds, Spanish graves. Who knows? There's that osprey in its nest. See if I can settle on this. It's got to be frustrating to watch. We have a lot of birds out here, shorebirds, water birds. We don't see any. I don't see any egret, ibis, heron, that sort of thing. I see some pelicans, cormorant, and seagulls, and some of those little teeny, I forget what the heck they are, skimmers, maybe something like that. See some brown pelicans. All just kind of hanging out on the sandbar. So down there in the far distance, by at the smoke stack there, the tower, that's the Florida Power Station, and that denotes the Anclote side. You can't see the mouth of the Anclote River from here. Wait a minute, I'm wrong. That's wrong. No, that's right. You know, yeah, you can't. That's where I can't. That's Fred Howard. Yeah, it's on the other side of those mangroves. Anyway. That was the Anclote River. That's where the sponge industry got its start, and where people to this day put out for commercial fishing, etc. So, and that would have been a place where the Spanish or the pirates who preyed on the Spanish would have gone to get there to seek sanctuary, to get away from the authorities who were trying to catch them and hang them for piracy. It's inconvenient. Being a pirate and getting hanged for piracy is at best inconvenient. And as you can see, this is a haven for boaters, people trying to get away from any kind of authority. There's no, except for right here, out in those keys, there's no areas there. There's no authority. You can go out there and do basically what you want. It's governed, but it's not like being in the parking lot of Fred Howard Park where you got Tarpon Springs cops come rolling through every few minutes. It's a much different situation. So we're gonna wrap this up and have a bite of lunch and pray to God we make it back. And that's not said facetiously, that's an actual prayer. It's pretty choppy on the way in. I don't have my sea kayak out today. I should have brought that instead of the one I brought, but fortunately it's worthy. It did a good job getting me over, so didn't get swamped. So I'll see some whitecaps out there. Well, either way, I got to go back. So. So we go back out here real quick and try to this radio speakers notwithstanding. There's about 5 more boats than when I pulled up here, but this gives you a better view of, except for a few of the dots off in the distance, what the Spanish and everybody were seeing when they first came here. It's just a small microcosm of the pristine quality of this island. And I've been on the northern part of it on the other side, on the beach side, on the Gulf side, and there are a lot of really nice seashells, which you don't see anymore. This wind's probably going to cut this video all to heck, so we're going to shut this bad boy down.